Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Narco Cop MMA. This is Lambo Plays Podcast, episode number 4. I got two guests. One of them is a special guest. He's a former Dana White's Contender Series alum and winner. I will bring him in a little bit. And I also have my usual guest in Tajik Bey, better known as the GOAT. We have a 14 fight card this week at UFC 267. It's going to be a banging card. Without further ado, we got a lot of fights to go through. So let me introduce my first host here. It is Tajik Bey. What's up, Tajik?
Not much, Narco Cop. Thanks for having me back on the show, and hi, everybody in the chat.
Awesome. Great to have you back, man. And without further ado, let me introduce the Mo Show, Mo Miller. What's up, brother?
How What's you doing? Up, man? Thank you for having me on.
Hey, man, thank you for being here. I know you're busy. I know you got to, I was kind of looking through some stuff, and I know you got a fight coming up on November 14th. Good luck on that. And let's just kick this card off. We're here to have some fun. If there's anything you want to say, you're more than welcome to just say it. But we have a 14-fight card. I will start off with the first fight of the night. It is Tagir Ulanbekov against Alan Nascimento. I will kick it to you, Tajik. What do you have here for us, and what do you have for the people in the Lambo plays? You're on mute, brother.
That's me the first time getting on mute. Okay, so I think it's an interesting matchup, and I thought it would be a close matchup. I think Nascimento has good tools standing. He's a Muay Thai fighter since the age of 15, but he likes those jiu-jitsu scrambles a lot, and I think he's in love with his grappling, and he's a purple belt in jiu-jitsu. So I think it's going to be an interesting matchup. But I think it will be a tough matchup for him because Tagir is a lifelong combat sambo specialist, and so his wrestling is outstanding. He can control his opponents very well, and stand up wise, he's a little bit wider stance, which I don't necessarily like here because he's if Nascimento employs the calf kicks, leg kicks, it could be his stance could be a liability, and he's more of a pure boxer than a kickboxer. So but I like his range striking, and I like that he mixes it up with the takedowns. I predicted that Ulanbekov will win this fight by decision, but we're here to make a Lambo bets. So here here goes nothing. I think there is a chance that Ulanbekov can stop him, and he can stop him late, somewhere around the third. And you're gonna have to help me with the prop, because I'm trying to get that number, Narco. Ulanbekov by TKO, and I'm looking on the best fight odds, and I cannot locate it.
Ulanbekov by TKO on FanDuel plus 750.
Plus 750, yeah, that's my kind of bet. So that's not bad at all.
Awesome. For me, I like everything I see from Ulanbekov. Like, dude is really long for the division, for the 125 division. Really good kicking game. I like his jab a lot, man. Really nice long jab. He has nice hands. In his fight against Bruno Silva, that win actually has aged really well now. Looking back at Bruno Silva, he's been tearing through a couple of guys recently in JP Pies, who's a former Dana White's Contender Series dude, and Victor Rodriguez. I'm not saying they're the best guys, but he's looked really good in those two fights. So that win for Ulanbekov has looked better over time. The dude has really good cardio, good grappling, really good ground and pound when he gets on top. And he trains with some of the best guys. You're talking about this guy is training with, everybody in that Nurmagomedov camp over there in Dagestan. So this guy's training with the best guys, and he has everything it takes to be a top level fighter. He does get hit a lot. He did get hit a lot. He kind of slowed down in the third round against Silva, where Silva came on late. But looking at Nascimento, this guy's another guy that he fought on that Dana White's Contender Series against Julian Paiva, who's in the UFC, a good UFC fighter currently. And it was a really close fight. Like it was a back and forth fight. Both, good striking from both. This dude, the one thing I will tell you is he's extremely tough, very good chin. He comes up from the shoot box in Diego Lima over there that Oliveira was from, Almeida's from, a lot of good guys from that gym. And another thing with this guy, he's really long himself for the division. So this is the first time Ulanbekov is actually going to face a guy that's the same size as he is, right? So that might throw him off a little bit because he's always faced the shorter guys where his jab is just like, he's keeping them at distance with the jab and he's just working them. This guy here, he does have a Muay Thai background, but I noticed he gets really sloppy when he starts engaging in the pocket, like really wide shots and stuff like that, where Ulanbekov can really land his straight shots on this guy. For me, I think both guys are extremely durable, and you could see it throughout their career. Like these guys haven't been stopped. What I do like, because I think this line's a little overblown with what it is at now. Ulanbekov is minus 400 range currently. I kind of looked at like Nascimento by decision plus 700 because this guy throws a lot of volume. I know Ulanbekov is the cleaner striker and all that, but man, this guy makes them close. And looking at that Paiva fight, he made it extremely close. And we know Paiva's a good fighter. So, you're giving me a plus 700 on a guy that, is going to throw the volume. He's going to be in there, fighting till the end. He doesn't really, he shows a really good chin. So plus 700 is a great price. Mr. Mo, you got any opinion on these two guys or have you seen them before?
I haven't really, like I said, I wasn't too familiar. I think I remember the fight with Bruno, though. I think I would go, if I had to bet my money, I would go with the Sambo expert.
Yeah.
I'm a grappling heavy guy, and I think two evenly sized guys. I think he will want to use his grappling. You know what I mean? Because he won't have, they cancel each other out as far as the range, I'm assuming. So I think he'll be definitely grapple heavy in this fight, and I think that'll get him to win.
Awesome. Yeah. For me, like if you're asking me what side I would take as a winner, I would definitely take Ulanbekov. I think he's the cleaner guy. I'm just going with the price that Nascimento by decision because I think he's gonna keep it kind of close here. I don't think this guy's just gonna wash him out of there. So getting a big price tag, I'm all for it. And yeah, we'll move on from there. Fight number 2, Yao Zong Hu going up against Andre Petrowski. I can kind of kick this one off, man. This is kind of a lower level fight. This Hu guy, he fought at heavyweight, man. This guy fought at he weighed in at 233 pounds just a couple of fights ago against Cyril Asker. That was obviously 4 years ago, and this guy's been away from the game for about 3 years. But like this guy's fought at 233. Then he went down and fought Rashad Coulter at light heavyweight at 205. But the one thing I will say is he looked really good on the scales at 185, looked ripped, looked in shape. He's fighting out of that Shanghai PI, institute out of Shanghai, China, the UFC PI. So I'm sure he's getting a little better. He's working on his, defensive grappling because this guy's takedown defense, man, against Cyril Asker looked absolutely horrible. Just literally no takedown defense. Just kept getting put on his ass against the guy in Cyril Asker, who's not in the UFC anymore. He's not really a UFC caliber fighter. And, he just worked this guy in that fight. What I will say is at face-offs, man, these guys, this guy Hu looked monstrous compared to Andre Petrowski. And, the one thing with Petrowski we know that he could do is wrestle. The guy has really good wrestling, really, really strong dude. But a big question mark is his gas tank, man. His gas tank seems to fail him. And looking back at the Ultimate Fighter, right, it failed him there where he completely gassed after that first round. Looking back at LFA against Aaron Jeffrey, again, completely gassed after the first round and just, basically getting knocked out, but getting knocked out because he was just completely gassed and couldn't even protect himself. So the one thing I like here is I have a couple of things. Andre Petroski, round one submission is plus 600. If he gets this to the ground, he's the much better grappler here. He's going to be able to probably get into nice positions to try to get the submission. So I don't mind that crack, but I also don't mind Hugh round two, round three at plus 1,600, plus 2,200. I know the guy has better gas tank than Petroski. I still question Petroski's gas tank, and that's why I just like these prices are astronomical. So if you're going to play this fight, I think you play round one, Petroski, round two, round three, Hugh, and you can even live bet this fight, after round one and see what, Petroski looks like after grappling in the first round. What do you got for us, Tajik?
Yeah, like I'm a huge Hu Yaozong fan. I even rapped about him in my previous pod. That one went viral. But yeah, like it's a very volatile fight. It's a fight where anything can happen, and I said this before. And I actually liked Hu's takedown defense. Cyril Asker was way bigger. This fight was at heavyweight. So when he was taking him down, he was actually, his get up game was pretty okay. So I thought he did fine, while being undersized. And in wrestling, more, right? Like when size does matter. If you're a bigger guy, you're wrestling. You could be like as skilled as, but if you're if you're a bigger guy, it's just gonna take you down. So what can you do? So now he fights at the 185, and he looked huge. I mean, he looked monstrous. So go ahead and try to take him down. I mean, this guy is probably going to be way over 220 pounds on the night of the fight. So try to take this guy down, and you're telling me that your cardio is liability. I'm intrigued. And so, if we go this this route, with this type of narrative, then Who by submission, and Who by submission is plus 1,600 right now, which is absolutely ridiculous bet, and that's the one that I'm willing to take. So this is Lambo and a Yacht bet over here, and if it plays, I mean, this will be incredible. So that would be the play that I will be looking into.
I will say something about this guy. Looking at his background, I guess he was a Greco-Roman wrestler at the age of 14, so he wrestled for a while, but then I guess he transitioned to more Muay Thai, and that's what happened.
You can tell, like, he takes the underhooks, like he's okay. He tried to, he works his hands, like it's like in the actually in the clinch when his hand, his underhooks were pretty okay. Like he tried to work his wrestling game. So I don't know. I think it's okay, but it's probably not at the high level. He has the base, you can tell.
My only concern was the fact that Cyril Asker is not like a great grappler, and just I think he landed 4 takedowns. Eventually, got his back too and subbed him. Petroski is a better grappler here than him. I know you're talking about size, and yes, it does matter for sure. I agree with you, and he's definitely the bigger guy come tomorrow when they step into the ring. I'm just worried that like one takedown and this fight might be over, and that's the only thing I'm worried about. But yeah, like I think he's live in the second and third round, man. If he makes this guy work and gets him tired, I definitely think he's live to stop this guy in the second and third round. We'll Mosho, you're a grappler. You know all about grappling, so give us your opinion.
I think being a bigger fighter, I think he needs to I think he needs to defend but not use much energy. You know what I mean? I think like don't go 100% for 100%. Like just stay in good position. Let Petroski work, and just make sure you make it out the first round in good position.
And kind of lay on him and use your weight and try to gas him out. Yeah, I mean that's not a bad idea. And man, this guy looked fucking massive at 185, man. They looked like they were in 2 different weight classes fighting each other at face-off. So
even being a better grappler, somebody that size, if you don't get him out of there, it's gonna be hard wrestling them for 15 minutes.
There you go. That's a great point. So yeah, that even gives me more assurance that this guy might actually, if this guy gets out of the first round, he might actually have working him on the feet if it extends. Yeah, let's move on. Fight number 3, Makwan Amirkhani going up against Liron Murphy. We'll kick it to you, Tashik. What do you got here?
Yes, I said this before. No disrespect to Laron, but I think he's slightly overrated. I thought that the Andrade beat him. I thought Zubari beat him, so he should be 1 and 2 in the UFC. His striking is okay, but he's a low volume guy. I mean, he has a KO power. We've seen that. That's fine. I understand. But Makwan's wrestling is pretty good, and his submissions are dangerous. And so the only thing that missing from Makwan is his cardio, right? So we know that round 1 or 2 he can do well, and then towards the end of the second round he guesses out, and then this is where most of his troubles begin. And people put him away, or it goes to some kind of a greedy decision. So what I'm gonna say here is I picked Makwan Amirkhani to win this fight, and it's probably gonna be some kind of a greasy decision. So I picked him to win by a split decision. I don't know if DraftKings is offering Makwan by a split decision. It's probably around like plus 10,000, but I'm curious if it's there.
Give me 1 second. I will look it up for you real quick. Mo, you got anything on this one? Are you familiar with any of these two guys?
Yeah, I watched Murphy a couple times. I thought he had a couple close fights too. I think it'll be a closer fight just because Murphy is low output, and that other guy, he kind of gasses out. So I think it'll be close because I think the grappling will win him the first round, maybe 2. If I think that's the game plan he'll use against Murphy, but I think Murphy will be there longer throughout the fight. So that's why I think it'll be like come down to a split decision. Maybe round 2 will be the toss-up round, but I feel like Murphy will win 3 just based on pace, and I think round 2 will be the deciding factor.
Awesome. Yeah, it's plus 2,000 by split decision or majority on Amir. Yeah, I taped this one a lot actually because I was interested. I do have a bet, like a regular fight goes to decision plus 110. Both guys look extremely durable, man. Amirkhani fucking took the kitchen sink against Edson Barbosa, and Edson Barbosa kicks, punches. I mean, great striker. Absolutely tore this guy up, and this guy, took it and kind of like used some of his wrestling to kind of stall moments and kind of get to decision. The only guy to stop him was Burgos, and Burgos also like kind of put a pace on him, and then actually stopped him with body shots late. Hit him like 3 or 4 really good body shots and got him out of there. But yeah, he's extremely durable, really, really good wrestler, man. Really good, strong guy. You see him in his wrestling get these guys in every single UFC fight in his career. He's gotten his opponents down. It's that gas tank that's very concerning. And, when it comes to the striking, this guy, he likes the check right hook a lot. Like that's his main punch there. I see it over and over on tape. But, you mentioned something about his chokes. I really like his darts, his anacondas. Those are all nasty, nasty chokes that he has. Really tight squeeze on. And if he gets you there, you're probably in deep fucking trouble. But, he is going to get the wrestling going early. And I do agree with both of you. I think he gets Murphy down because Murphy's takedown defense is not the best. He does get taken down. But I will say also, he has very good get-ups. He doesn't sit there and guard. He works his way back up, which makes you use more energy. Like Mo can agree to this. Like when you take someone down and you have to constantly take him down and he's getting up on you, you're using a lot of energy to get this guy constantly down. Mm-hmm. So, what I did look at here is like I said, I have a play on fight goes to decision, but I also like the Murphy prop round 3 at plus 1,000 just because of how slow Amirkhani slows down, how much in that third round. And I think Murphy, the one thing he does have is really good cardio. Um, but I also don't mind, early on the Amirkhani submission was like plus 800, and I really don't mind taking a shot on that. If you have something in that range now, I think now it's gone down to about plus 650. I want to say, yeah, it's like plus 650 range, 600. Um, I think if he gets them down early and they're not sweaty and stuff, those chokes, if he sinks it in, it's going to be very hard for Murphy to get out of it. So, yeah, I kind of agree with both of you in how this fight, it's probably going to play really close. Second round is probably going to be the decider here. Probably the first half of the second round going to Amirkhani, and then probably the next half of the second round probably going to Murphy. But with that being said, we will move on. Fight number 4, Mikhail Olishacek against the newcomer Shamil Gamazatov. I think he's not a newcomer, actually. Sorry, he's fought one time in the UFC. I can kick this one off. I have a current regular bet on Michael Olishacek as plus 126. I don't think this guy should be the underdog in this fight. I think the bookmakers automatically looked at this guy being a Dagestani, a Russian, undefeated, 14-0. This guy is probably a killer, and they just put him down as a favorite because when you go watch this guy's tape, this guy's not the typical Dagestani guy. He does not grapple a lot. You don't see much grappling at all from this guy. I think I've seen one takedown in probably 5 different fights. He just doesn't shoot. He likes to throw a lot of kicks, very low volume. I'm not in love with his hands. His hands are not great. He's more defensive. He's smart about what he's doing in the ring so he doesn't get hit. But there's just no volume from this guy. He doesn't throw a lot of volume. And, seeing him against a guy in Olishacek that's a veteran that's fought, I'm not going to say this guy's fought the best guys, but he's fought really good guys. I mean, he's fought Khalil Roundtree. He's fought Antigulov. He's fought, Ovid Prue, Jimmy Crute, even though he's lost to those guys. But, like I said, he lost the submission to both those guys in Ovid Prue and Jimmy Crute, who are really good grapplers. This guy's just not that guy. So for me here, I I couldn't find the Lambo play. I think Olishacek by decision plus 260 is not bad at all. I think this fight goes to decision because this guy's just so defensively sound. He's not going to kind of exchange in the pocket to give Olishacek the chance to knock him out. And I just don't see him doing anything to Olishacek to actually stop him or submit him because he just doesn't look like he has that. So for me, Olishacek by decision plus 260 is actually a solid line. I think he should comfortably been the favorite in this fight. I would cap him at probably minus 150, 160 range here. What do you think, Tashik?
Yeah, so it's an interesting matchup, and I agree 100% with everything you said. I don't understand the odds, and I think right now the odds are kind of reflect the reality more. It's a 50-50 fight, and so if you bet Olishacek, and so that's an awesome comment. This is great. So everybody, I think everybody on this pod made you money, Mushroom. So, which is great. So I think it's a close matchup, and I like Olishacek here as well. And I think what I was looking into, I think my prediction is that it goes to a decision, and Olishacek takes it by decision. But we also have seen Olishacek, go hard, put the pace, put the pressure on his opponents, and then try to take him out. If he can take him out, and get that fight of the night bonus, I think he will go for it. And somewhere towards the third round, he may stop him. Why not? So I would be curious to see Olishacek by TKO. And if I were to take it up a notch, I would take it Olishacek by TKO in round 3, which I think would be more realistic because Gamzatov should be durable and keep the solid pace for a round and a half. And I have a suspicion about his cardio. I really do. Klitz and Abreu pushed him a lot, and he did it in Mother Russia, and it was a close fight. I thought Abreu won that fight.
Yeah, and that's another fight that's not a good look for him, right? It's not a
Not
good
at
look.
all. And it was the first fight. I understand it's a debut. You have octagon jitters and all that, but it was not a good look. I mean,
No,
you have low volume. You don't have wrestling. What are you gonna do? And Olishacek is gonna be there. If you don't try to take him down, and if you do, and he defends, then what you're gonna do?
yeah.
And if your cardio is not there, I mean, we have a problem. Right, so yeah, I'll be interested in Olishacek by TKO. I have troubles like finding the odds today, but I'm
Plus 420 on the TKO at FanDuel.
yeah. This is a Lambo bet enough, I think.
Yeah, that's not a bad Lambo bet. Before I go on to Mo, I will say he made me a lot of money on that fight because I had a lot of money on him up against that guy in complete dominating fashion. It was probably the easiest money I've made in MMA in a long time. But thank you for that, Mo. It's on you now, brother. What do you have any idea on these two?
Yeah, these two I don't have a pick. I'll just go with the Russian. He's 14-0. I think you said he is more slower pace heavyweight. So them guys are pretty hard to beat. You know what I mean? It sounds like he's pretty technical, and at that weight, that's a hard task.
He's a 205er, but yeah,
but still.
Yep. Yeah. Cool. Let's move on. Fight number 5. We're still in the prelims. We got a couple of more. It's Zaleski dos Santos against Benoit St. Denis, the newcomer. Go ahead, Tajik. What do you got over here? Please tell me.
Yeah, I'll be short here. I take Benoit, and I think he has a good submission game. I understand, but I mean, in the stand-up, Easy is gonna chew him up, and so I noticed in the stand-up they had a lot of respect for each other. It didn't look like there's animosity, there's bad blood, and Benoit is a young kid. He's an 8-0. I don't think Easy is gonna go like full Eliseo Zaleski mode on him and try to take him out like he did Strickland. When he KO'd Strickland, he did so many people like favor. Like now that I think about it in the hindsight, just to see how Eliseo put him away. I think he made a lot of people happy. So I'm gonna say that it's gonna go to a decision. So my pick is gonna be Eliseo dos Santos to win by decision, and that would be my pick and my Lambo play.
Nice. I kind of dug deep on this St. Denis guy because, looking at this guy, he was 8-0. He's a UFC newcomer. He fights out of that Brave CF over there in the Middle East. So he's one of the guys over there. But man, this guy started MMA. I couldn't believe when I saw it. He just started MMA in 2017. So I was reading a story on this guy. He was special forces in France. And then he fell in love with MMA watching it. And he went to the gym in 2017 and just barely, he had no combat experience. He just started MMA. I guess he did some judo back in the day, but this guy started MMA 4 years ago, which is kind of very recent, Doesn't really have any type of grappling background. He does look okay when it comes to the grappling, and I see it. He's a blue belt, and he has a lot of submissions. But let's talk about who he's fighting too, man. I mean, these guys are regional guys in Brave CF. In the fight against, this one came to mind right away because when I watched it, I'm like, who is this guy he's fighting? This Mario Said guy. I mean, he's 13-6. This guy, I guess, is a puncher. He's more of a striker, and he reversed position on St. Denis 2 different times when Dennis had top position. Like, he's not very sound holding guys down. Like in other fights, they're getting really up easy. He's very sloppy when it comes to grappling. So, Zaleski dos Santos is, a capoeira guy. He's the black level capoeira guy, like really good striking. But the guy is also a BJJ black belt, man. Just because he doesn't use it doesn't mean he doesn't know what he's doing down there, because he really does. And the one thing that really stuck out to me in this fight is I know St. Dennis is going to shoot for takedowns. He's not going to want to stand with this guy. And with him shooting takedowns and getting down there and being as sloppy as he is that I saw on tape, he's going to give Dos Santos a lot of chances to submit him. And that's why I love Dos Santos by submission. Plus 1,200, guys. I'm telling you, that line is very, very live. This guy's going to shoot a lot. He might even get tired because this guy's never been to a decision in his career. You know, he hasn't fought a lot. Like we said, jitters, you know, octagon jitters his first time. You know, Dos Santos is a veteran of the UFC. You know, this guy's fought Muslim Salikov, you know, one of the best strikers, and fought him. And I think he even won that fight. You know, like we said, he knocked out Sean Strickland that everybody's kind of fearing now, you know. But, dude, this guy's not a joke. This is a huge, huge step up for this St. Dennis guy and a huge step down for Dos Santos, right? He's going from Muslim Salikov and Sean Strickland to a guy that's making his UFC debut that just started MMA in 2017. There's not really much to cap here on my end because I think there's a lot of variables that favor Aleksei Dos Santos here. And, you know, submission 1,200. I took Dos Santos money line at minus 210. That line is so small. That line is way off, in my opinion. I think it's going to be easy wherever this goes for Dos Santos because I think he's going to be better everywhere than this guy. And, yeah, I mean, the submission line just stuck out a lot. And plus 1,200, I think, is a good poke. Mo, have you watched any of these guys or know of them?
Yeah, I know Dos Santos. I watched him fight a couple times. I agree. I think it's the experience gap. I'm not sure who the other opponent is, but just based off what you're saying, Dos Santos is a hard task to be fighting this early. So I think I would bet on the submission there.
Yeah, I mean they're throwing this guy to the wolves, man. I don't know what's going on, but like your first UFC fight against a guy like this, I think they're just setting this poor guy up. And you know, starting MMA just so recently, you're facing such an experienced just combat guy. You know, this guy Dos Santos did capoeira for so many years, so I don't know. Go ahead,
yeah. If I may say, like it's interesting, right? Like if you're his manager, like what are you thinking? I mean, I hope he wins. I hope he does well. But you're 8-0. You started the MMA like 4 years ago, and they giving you Eliseu Dos Santos as your debut. You know, that's like weird. But Mo, I wanted to ask you. You know, like we're talking about the grappling and submission. What is your favorite submission if you have one?
My favorite submission, I would just say a rear naked, because most of the time when I get the back, that's the one that I normally can get. For the most part, I think I got a good grip, so it's pretty much the easiest for me to get and the most consistent one I get in practice. So I just say a rear naked, because most of the time I'm on top or on the back.
Awesome. We'll get to some questions maybe for him at the end, so we can get through this whole thing. Uncle Weezy, what's up, my buddy? What's up? Thanks for being here, Uncle Weezy, Mr. Ash Shaver himself, Uncle Weezy. Fight number 6. This is a Dana White's Contender Series, dude. Albert Duryev.
He was on there with me.
Yeah, there you go. They call him Hazmat 2.0 for some reason. I don't know why, but it's against Roman Kopylov. If you want to, you know what, Mo, kick this one off, brother. If you know anything about this guy, Duryev.
I don't really know too much about him. I just know we fought on this, but I got to talk to him backstage, and
there you go.
He like a real upbeat type of person. You know what I mean? Like a lot of energy, and he was tough on the Contender Series. So I don't know the other dude, so I'm a root for my boy here. I know he trains out in Vegas. I think he's with Extreme. Yeah, so he got a simple game plan, take you down and work right to a submission or work right to whatever. But that's his game plan, and he really aggressive with it.
That sounds like someone I know that's on the show.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, man. Duryev, man. I like what I see even on his tape. Back in Russia when he fought at ACA, I believe. Man, this guy or ACB, sorry, this guy looks.
Yeah.
His striking is good too. Like I know you saw it. He kind of looked like off in the couple of in the first minute of that fight against Bittencourt because he had some ring rust too. The guy's been off for 3 years prior to that Dana White Contender Series fight. But dude, when this guy gets you down, he is that typical Dagestani dude, Dagestani rusher. He's grabbing that offhand, holding it, and then just pummeling you with his other hand. Um, Looked really, really strong in his ground and pound. The guy is just when he grabs a hold of you, and in almost all his fights, when he grabs a hold of these guys, they're all going down, man. And he's extremely strong. You could see it. Has very, very good low kicks too in his regional scene. I saw very, very good low kicks. His three losses that he has really early in his career. He got knocked out in all three of them. But Anatoly Tokov is not like a joke to lose to. This guy's 30-3. Really, really good fighter. He also lost to Ramazan Amiv, who's a UFC guy. And these were early in his career. Like we're talking about fight number 5 and fight number 8. So, after that, he is reeled off 9 straight wins. Guys looked really, really good in his wins. Like I said, this guy is, Mo mentioned, he's fighting, training at Extreme Couture, right? So he's getting in rounds with Sean Strickland. He's getting in rounds with Chimaev now because Chimaev was training there. And the one thing I will say that I heard in an interview from Sean Strickland said that the toughest guy on the ground in the gym is this dude, Albert Duraev. That's what he said. And that guy has a big head. We know he doesn't like to admit that there's guys that are better than him. But man, he was raving about Albert Duraev's grappling. So, on the other hand, Kopelev, his last loss is just such a bad look for me. Losing to Carl Roberson in the way he lost, not the fact that he lost to Carl Roberson, because Roberson is a good fighter, but the way you lose a rear naked choke to a guy that's a striker, and Roberson is a striker. He's not really a grappler. In that third round, he gets the takedown, gets the back, and sinks in that rear naked choke and makes this guy tap. And on the other hand, Roberson tore this guy's leg up. And what I just mentioned with Duryev is he's got really good leg kicks. So that leg is going to be there for him to tear it up. But I think he's just going to go to the easy way out. The easy way out and the path of least resistance is to go get that grappling going, take this guy down. Because one thing I will say about Kopelev, he's the master of combat sambo. He knows how to strike. He's a good striker. So with that being said, I just see Duryev taking this guy, and I have Duryev by KO plus 500. I think that line is off. I know people think he might sub this guy, but Duryev loves the ground and pound, and he can easily get this guy out of there by smashing him on the ground. So plus 500, I think is a good look on Duryev. What do you got for us, Tajik?
Yeah, it's an interesting matchup. And I've said this before. Like I understand where people are coming from. With Duraev being so hyped. I mean, I actually don't. Let me take that back, because I taped him as well, and I watched him in ACB fighting. Um, there is an assumption somehow that he's this chain wrestler, goes for takedown, relentless pace and stuff like that. But we only seen a very small episode of him taking down Caio Bittercourt, and Bittercourt is like, I mean, I'm pretty sure he's watching it, and no disrespect to Bittercourt, but he has very padded record, fighting guys with 0-0, 0-1, 0-20 records. Like that's not. It's just realistically, and this day and age, who loses via neck crank? I mean, we're not in the good old pride days where people used to submit each other with the can openers, right? I mean, this is not WWE either, right? So it's just strange to me the way he got submitted. And so when there is a hype, right? We only seen the short episode. The problem with betting Duraev is that we haven't seen this man fighting a competitive 3-round fight in years. and we basing our opinion on this very short episode fighting against an opponent who we believe is maybe not the best, top quality opponent for him. But Kopylov, on the other hand, is actually a good matchup. He's a very decent opponent. He fought good opposition. He made his debut already. We know what to expect out of him. I'll disagree with you on his looks versus Carl Robertson, to be honest with you, because what Carl Robertson did in that fight is he just pieced up his legs. And during this fight, you can tell he was limping pretty bad in the third round. But the first round and the second round were pretty competitive. And with Kopylov kind of getting used to 5-round fights, he always, time management in the 5-round fight versus 3-round fight is different, so it's not easy to shift between the the mindset of a 3-round fight versus 5-round fight, right? So with that being said, his volume wasn't there. So when Carl injured his leg, after that he could have submitted however way he wanted. If he went for flying Gogo Plata, he would have gotten it. It doesn't matter who that guy was at the time and what credentials he had. He was just injured in the third round, and he got submitted. So to me, when I look, I think it's a very competitive fight. Kopylov, as like you said, is a combat Sapa specialist. He's also hand-to-hand combat specialist, and he trains in Dagestan as well on a regular basis for many years. So when you're looking into Kopylov and when you're looking versus Duraev, I'm not saying Duraev is a hype job. He fought a good level of opponent in a great promotion, but treat lightly when you're betting this guy, and especially when you're going against the GOAT. Yeah, that's yeah. So that's what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna pick Kopylov by decision here. And for everybody who bet Duraev this week, I'm gonna say good luck because you're gonna need it.
I got a rebuttal for you. I will say this: Duraev, you said he's never, recently he's never gone 3 hard rounds. He went 5 hard rounds in his fight right before the Dana White's Contenders.
When was it though?
I know it's 3 years ago. I know that.
Okay.
But he still went 5 hard rounds, and we saw his cardio check out in that fight where he was grappling a lot, he was striking a lot.
Right.
He looked good in the 5th round. I mean, he was on top in that 5th round. The other thing I will say is that I went back, and you go back and look at Kopylev's fight against a regional guy in hold on, let me get to his name, in Absupan Alkanov. In that fight, it went 4 rounds. Alkanov had a ton of takedowns in that fight, and Duraev, to me, on tape, watching him, is a much, much better grappler than that dude. Much more heavy on top when he gets on top. I'm just, Kopylev, I'm not saying he doesn't have good striking, and I just still see a lot of holes in his takedown defense. And going up against a guy like this, I know you're saying, his leg was hurt. It's going to be extremely hard for him to stop the takedowns from Duraev. And once he gets on bottom, that's when it gets even tougher because this guy's extremely, extremely heavy on top when I watch him.
Yeah.
But you know what? You are the GOAT. And, sometimes I have to respect some of your plays. So I will respect your play. I still like Duraev by KO here.
Mike, probably 99% of the community is with you, right? I mean, there's no, and I don't mean no disrespect to Duraev as well. I just see and you're right, he's a better grappler and better wrestler. But what I'm trying to say, he's not that chain wrestler that we talk about with an infinite amount of cardio to go out there and dominate Kopylov in a way that people assume he's going to dominate. That's all I'm trying to say. And so I think it's going to be a competitive fight. So we'll find out. I think that's.
Sure. I mean, I don't want to, every UFC fight can be competitive. And I do think, Kopylev has the skills to make it competitive. Because, I mean, like I said, I think when you watch the striking, he's the better striker, right? I for sure believe he's the better striker on the feet. The question mark to me is, can he keep it on the feet against this guy? And if he doesn't keep it on the feet, I think he's in trouble. That's where I see the big gap is on the ground. Because I think on the feet, whether the fact that I'm telling you Kopylov is the better striker, but I still think it's competitive. I just don't see it competitive once it hits the ground. Similar to what Mo Miller did to his last opponent, where it wasn't competitive on the ground. But we will move on. Fight number 7. We disagree there. It is Zubari Tokugawa versus Ricardo Hamosh. I can kind of kick this one off, man. This one is not one that, I just see this one as a low striking affair. I don't like either guy, to be honest, what I see from tape. Tokugawa, low volume. Ramos, low volume. Tokugawa, for me, like, he gets people down, but he has absolutely no control or what to do once he gets them down there. Like, he's not a submission guy. He has not, his control is not very good other than just holding guys. And, his ground and pound is nothing to like either. So, on Ramos's side, the guy has, good BJJ. His striking is more based off, kicking game. And, his takedown defense is not good. He can get taken down. But again, I don't think, this Tokugawa guy can control him here. And when he's throwing, like actually striking Tokugawa, he throws with power, but sloppy, right? He's throwing these big overhand rights, not keeping it technical. The other thing with him is, as the fight goes on, he's tired in these third rounds in multiple fights that I saw. Against Duwadu, he was tired. Against who else was it that I seen? Against Murphy, he kind of get tired. Moyakano, he was tired. So this guy does get tired later in this fight. He does train with some of the best guys, again, in Dagestan. Like, he's close to all those Nurmagomedov people, so he trains with the best guys. But I don't think he's cut from the same cloth like these Makhachevs and stuff like that, because I don't think he's the grappler that they are. So for me, I think this is a close fight. I think it's a really close fight. So I like Ramos split decision, majority decision, plus 1,100. Book it. What do you got, Tajik?
I like this match. And so with Zubera, I said this before. The biggest problem was always his commitment. He was. He admitted this in his interviews himself that he wasn't 100% giving his all to preparations, to trainings, and now he has this change in the mindset. And I hope he does, because I think he's talented, and I think he actually has a very, very good hands. If you check his 1-2s, his overhand rights, like, his striking techniques is actually very impressive. It's very impressive. His ground control is abysmal, but he can take people down. And Hamosh is actually also kind of, training with Team Alpha Male. His wrestling is pretty good. So I don't think that the path to victory for Zubera lays in the grappling, although I can see the scenario where he just, takes him down and pounds him out. But I think standing wise, if he pressures him, I think he has better hands. And what I also noticed about Ricardo Hamosh is that he yields, kind of caves under pressure. When you put the pace on him, put the pressure, like make him a little bit uncomfortable, he breaks. So having said that, we're going to go wild here. I think Zubera is going to knock him out. I don't have a round here, but I think it's going to be a beautiful knockout, and yeah, that would be my pick. Zubera by TKO is actually plus 460 if it hasn't been shut down yet.
No, it's there.
Yeah, well, actually, it got down to, right after I said it, got down to plus 340. Guys, one ask, if we make this Lambo bets, let everybody have one Lambo, right? Like, don't be greedy. At least wait until it's the end of the pod, and then you can bet. I mean, you're betting right away, and everybody wants. And then and we're gonna end up with Honda Civics, and you guys are gonna get the Lambos, right? Okay. So.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, I like his power. He does have a lot of power when he throws. So and we've seen Ramos get knocked out by Lerone Murphy, who usually doesn't get people out of there. He's more technical and stuff like that. But yeah, he got him out of there. Mo, are you familiar with any of these two guys here?
I know Ricardo. Yeah, I agree. I think he kind of breaks under pressure. I'm not too sure of the other guy. I'm not too familiar with him, but just going off what you guys were saying, it sounds like he's throwing big shots and moving forward. So I think that'll definitely give Ricardo trouble. But he in a good camp, so it's not like he haven't seen it before. High level fighters before, or pressure fighters before, but it just so happened during his fights he do kind of fold under the pressure. So I wouldn't bet on him.
Awesome. So you're on the Tokugawa fight side.
Yeah.
Last fight of the prelims. It is the women's strawweight fight. It is 10-2 Amanda Ribas going up against Verna Jandiroba. We will kick it off to you, Tajik. What do you have here?
Yeah, I saw a lot of and heard a lot of sharps betting on Virna Jandiroba this weekend, and I'm not one of them. It's strange. It's not strange. He let me take that back. You know, I'm an island boy, you know, and Virna Jandiroba is an island girl, you know. So like I'm her biggest fan, you know. We're cool. I cheer for her fights. She knows it. But having said that, her path to victory against Amanda Ribas is so limited. It's limited to taking her down, you know, and out grappling her. Um, Amanda Ribas is an Olympic alternate for judo, you know, from Brazil. You know, I understand you can say Randa Marcos took her down, but just look at it big picture wise. Her takedown defense is very, very solid. You know, and for us to assume that Virna is going to take her down and dominate her in the grappling aspect, it's possible. It's MMA. Anything can happen, but we have to be realistic. I don't think she has a good chance in you know, infinitely dominating Amanda Ribas on the ground. And so her path to victory hence is limited. Standing up, I think Ribas is going to piece her out. And so it's a simple take for me. I'm gonna take Amanda Ribas by decision, and that's that. And I'm sorry I didn't check the odds again, but
I bet that already, so I know it's plus 130. I don't know what is it now.
yeah, it's not a Lambo like you can lease a Lambo with this money though.
I'm on your side. I'm not with the other sharps. I'm on this sharp. I actually like Ribas by decision plus 130. Jandiroba is tough. I don't think Ribas is going to stop her. But like you mentioned, like I think Ribas is better everywhere except for the submission grappling. I think the submission grappling is on the Jandiroba side. She's a world champion. She's a really, really high level BJJ player. I know Ribas is a black belt in BJJ herself, so she knows what she's doing down there. But I do give the edge slightly to Jandiroba in the submission grappling. But like you said, taking her down, it's not easy. I think Ribas will be able to take Jandiroba down if she wants to. Did you see her at face-offs, Tajik? That's another thing I wanted to mention because she's much bigger than Jandiroba at face-offs. Much bigger girl. Go back and look at it. I don't know if you got your chance, but I was surprised at how much bigger Ribas is than Jandiroba. The other thing I will say is Jandiroba's striking, guys, and I'm being nice, sucks. Because when you got Mackenzie Dern that really does not have good striking, and she's just landing strikes on you, and you're turning your back to her, you know, she's literally running backwards and turns her back while Mackenzie Dern is throwing punches at her, is a really, really terrible look against a girl that, you know, is not really well versed in the striking in Mackenzie Dern. Now she's going to face Ribas, who's a much, much better striker. She knows what she's doing on her feet. She's going to be the way better person on the feet here, in my opinion. And you know, if she gets her down and on top, I think, you know, she can stay safe. But what I will say is there is a line out there that I think is off. And I think the Jandiroba submission plus 1,200, that line is only 1,200 on FanDuel, guys. And, you look everywhere else, that line everywhere else is plus 600, plus 700, plus, 650, but it's plus 1,200 on FanDuel. I think Jandiroba will have some opportunities to throw in an armbar if she's on bottom. She has very, very high level BJJ. So, you're getting such a huge price on someone that's such a high level BJJ person. I don't think it's bad. And if she is to happen to, take Ribas down and is on top, that price even gets much better for you when she's on top. So yeah, plus 1,200 Jandiroba submission. But I do like the Ribas side. I think she wins this fight. She's the better fighter, in my opinion. She's faced the higher level opponents. For me, this is a line that was created because Marina Rodriguez knocked her out in the second round. Go back and look at the fight. She dominated Marina Rodriguez in the first round. But once it was on the feet, she got caught. She stopped her. This girl is good. I think Ribas is legit. I think getting plus money on a decision line is not bad at all. Mo, do you know any of these girls at all?
Yeah, I like Rebus. I think I agree with you. I think she's the most well-rounded fighter in this matchup. I think even if the other girl gets her down, I think it'll be a struggle getting her down first. But if she does get her down, I don't think she'll be able to submit her just based on that Rebus is also a black belt. But I do agree that that's her only path to victory, I'll say, because I don't think she'll outstrike Amanda. But she is very high level in BJJ, and she just needs to scramble to catch something. So she does have a chance, but I just think getting the takedown is the hard part.
I agree. I agree with you. Uncle Weezy does not like Amanda Ribas's takedown defense. I personally do. You say 0%, but in her fights that she's fighting, people like, that are actually not really attempting takedowns. You can't really, fault her. I know she got taken down by Marcos, but Marcos is very physical, guys. I don't care what you think of her or how bad she is. She's extremely physical and strong. So when she gets a hold of a lot of these girls, she does get takedowns, Marcos. So whether you think, Marcos has, she's an 11-11 or whatever she is, even her losses are to top tier people, right? She's not losing to like bad level fighters. So, I like Ribas. I think she's the side here. Everybody I've looked at, like Shadiq said, they're on the Jandiroba side. And frankly, I don't understand it. She beat Murata, I understand, but Murata is not a striker at all. Like Murata is a wrestler, and that plays right into Jandiroba's hands. And the other thing is, she was much longer than Murata. Murata is so small. She's literally 5 foot, so she looked towering compared to her in that fight. And eventually, I think she snapped her arm or something in the arm bar. But yeah, great breakdown. I think all three of us here are on the Ribas side. But we will move on to the main card. Fight number 9. This is a banger. It's Magomed Ankalaev against Volkan Oezdemir. Mo, you want to kick this one off? You got something here?
Yeah, I can. I'm a fan of Oezdemir. I think he brings it every fight. It's hard to beat that dude, man. It's hard to beat him. But he do got a tough opponent. I watched this guy before. But I think it'll be one of Oezdemir's hardest fights. But I don't see him losing this. I don't know how, but
that is a take because this guy's a pretty big underdog. He's a plus 245, plus 260. So for every $100, you are winning $260 if Oezdemir wins. Oh, we got some confidence here. Mo has some big confidence. I'll kick it off to you, Tajik. What do you think about this intriguing fight at 205?
Yeah, I broke this down previously as well. I don't understand these odds. I don't understand people's fascination with Ankalaev either. Uh, Ozdemir fought the top level opponents, and when you look at him, being stopped by Jiri Prochaska is just, I mean, Jiri Prochaska stops everybody. I said this before. I mean, he's on juice so much that it's gonna last until he's like a defense his takedown 3 times,
Okay.
defense his like title 3 times. I mean, it's an infinite amount. One FC is obviously, where did he fight? He fought in One FC or he fought in the Horizon, right?
I think he fought in Ryzen actually.
Oh,
Let me
good
do
old
that.
Japan. I mean,
Yep.
we don't have to go back to the history of a Jews in the Pride era. It's like it's prevalent. But you know what? Jiri is a good guy. Um, so here's the thing, right? Not to disrespect him, but he KOs everybody. So the fact that he KO'd Ozdemir was no surprise. But Ozdemir also, was competitive, and Ozdemir was competitive in all of his fights.
Yeah.
If it's a wrestler, a solid wrestler, like DC, yeah, I understand the trouble, right? But Ankalaev is not that. Ankalaev likes to stand up. He likes to, throw hands. So what's the where's the minus 350 odds coming from? Like, it should be much closer fight. In my opinion, it's more like 50-50 fight.
Yeah.
Ozdemir has a banger of the hands, both hands, he can knock him out. So what's the deal here? Why are we on the Ankalaev all over a sudden? So I'm gonna pick Ozdemir. I think Ankalaev is also cautious in stopping people, but he also cautious in being stopped, right? So I think Ozdemir, unlikely that he stops him, but I'm gonna take Ozdemir by decision. Is gonna be my pick.
All right. I guess I'm on an island this time because I am on the Ankalaev side. I'm really impressed with this guy's technical striking, man. Really, really good counter puncher. Really, really solid striking, man. This guy is really crisp on the feet. We saw that fight with Krylov in the third round. If he wants to go to the grappling, he gets people down. Krylov is a good wrestler himself. He took him down in that fight in the third round. I think he landed 2 different takedowns in the third round, and controlled him. If need be in this fight, I think he can also take Ozdemir down if he's to shoot. But what I will say is I do like Ozdemir. I do think this guy is, people, I hear a lot of people saying this guy is chinny. They're crazy, dude. This guy has a really good chin. It takes a lot to get this guy out of there, man. Go look at that, Yuri knocking this guy. It's not a joke, dude. Yuri can knock anybody out. The guy throws extremely, extremely hard. Landed some big punches on him earlier, and Ozdemir took him pretty good. Then you got the fight, against Rakic, really close fight where he won a split decision. You go back and guys fought Cormier, like you said, and guys fought Serkinov. He's fought good guys, Dominic Reyes. So the list goes on and on. He's fought a lot of good 205ers. He's a big dude. Kind of looked slim. I don't know if you watched the weigh-ins. He kind of looked slimmer than normally. So I don't know what he's been working on, but he looked not as full like he normally does. Ozdemir did. But, ultimately what I do see here is the fact that Ozdemir on the feet kind of gets wild, right? We know he likes those big exchanges. He likes to throw hands. He's powerful, and I agree with everything you guys have said about this guy because I really do like him. And maybe the line is a little bit tad wide here at minus 330, minus 340. But what I will say is, again, he gets wild, and getting wild against a very technical striker and a very good counter striker in Ankalaev is a very, very bad recipe. And, to top it off, I do think Ankalaev can get takedowns. And what I did sprinkle is a small play on Ankalaev by submission, plus 2,000. Because, Ozdemir, we know, is a striker. He likes the striking game. I know Ankalaev likes the striking game, but I also think he can take him down. And if he can take him down, and I do think he's the better grappler, plus 2,000 is a big price. And And I do think Ankalaev is a very smart fighter. So, you saw that Krylov fight that, once he saw the path of least resistance, which was the takedown, he did it. And I think if he feels the power from Ozdemir and he knows that it's kind of getting dangerous on the feet, I do think he turns to the grappling and tries to take this guy down. And I think that submission line will be live if he does take this guy down. So plus 2,000 for me is a big price on the Ankalaev submission. It's on FanDuel. But I do like the Ankalaev side overall. I think he's the better technical. I think, honestly, this guy is a very, very good and probably title contending prospect at 205, in my opinion, from what I've seen. People, I guess, are, I honestly think people are down on him a little because of that Krylov fight, right? It went to decision. Krylov kind of gave him some problems early, shooting for takedowns, wild angles, switching stances. But, he won the second and third round easily.
Yeah, Mike, but he also grabbed the cage like 200 times, right? Like, if I like, I mean, he grabbed the cage more times than Jotko did, like in this. And Jotko is the king of cage grabbing, He's like, let's be honest, right?
I mean, yeah, he still lost that first round, and we know he lost the first round. I'm saying the way he dominated the second and third, he dominated those rounds after losing the first round. But I think Krylov is an awkward guy, man. He gives people problems in the way he kind of changes stances, throws a punch to land a takedown. He kind of closes the distance by punching to kind of get to your hips. So, yeah, I mean, I see where you guys are saying, I don't mind a straight bet on Ozdemir at big plus money because I do like the guy. I think the guy is good. I just think Ankalaev is like on a different level, man, and his striking is really crisp. Moving on to a fight that everybody wants to see. It is the Leech, Jingliang Li, going up against Khamzat Chimaev, who questionably made weight today. I don't know if you guys saw it. I can kind of talk about this fight. We already know what Chimaev brings to the table. Dude is a nasty wrestler, good ground and pound, you name it. I don't want to really go into all of that. But I will say is I think he had trouble making weight, guys. I have some Chimaev props, and I'm kind of worried that, this guy is being out for a long time. He had bad COVID. Everybody knows about his COVID thing, spitting up blood. You name it. This guy was in really bad shape at one point. Was quitting MMA. He basically said, I quit. They had to convince him to come back. So we don't know what his cardio is going to be like. We have no idea how he's going to look after this long layoff and this bad weight cut because, looking at him holding that towel, trying to make weight, and then coming back and making, going 4 pounds under and then all of a sudden reweighing. And I don't know, man. I don't know. It was very sketchy what was going on with the weigh-ins. But, Jingliang Li is tough as hell. I will say that. Guy has really good counter. We saw him knock out Aleski Dos Santos, was it, where he knocked him out? Or who was it that he – not Aleski Dos Santos. I think he knocked out Santiago Ponzinibbio, who's also a really good fighter. And, the one thing I will say here is the Jingliang round 3 plus 2,600. If this fight gets out of the first round and goes past the 7.5 minute mark, honestly, Chimaev is going to be in trouble. That's just my opinion. I don't think he's going to be able to keep up a 15-minute pace based on all the things I'm talking about, being out for a long time, COVID, hard weight cut. This is not at 185, it's at 170. So I don't know, man. If he's going to be able to keep up that pace for 15 minutes, I'm going to be really impressed. I'm not going to say he's not going to be able to blast them out in the first round because, Jiang has a suspect takedown defense, and I think he's going to land takedowns. It's a matter of can Jiang stay safe? Can he get up? Can he make Chimaev work? Which in turn might get him tired later in this fight. But that's a huge, insane tag to win for a guy that has a lot of question marks right now. What do you think, Tajik?
Yeah, I'll keep this one short. It's gonna be Chimaev by smash. So that's it.
All right. Mo, what do you got
I
for
think
us?
just real quick on the weight, he definitely had trouble with his weight. That was too noticeable. But I think he is a beast, though. We haven't seen much of him, but like some guys, you can just tell that they fighters. But go
Well,
ahead.
I'm just sorry to interrupt you, but what are your what do you see in him that, obviously he's a grappler, kind of like you, a wrestler. What do you see that he has that it's kind of the it factor that you're saying he's a fighter?
He fearless.
Okay.
He don't back away from no challenge. Cause Lee is hard. Lee is a tough fight. You know what I mean? He's not the guy who's I don't want to say this, but like Sean O'Malley. You know what I mean? How they hyping them? You hyping them two dudes up, but differently. Like this dude will fight Usman. You know what I mean? O'Malley wouldn't fight, or he got to pick his spots. You know what I mean? Like, so I respect fighters like that because Lee is tough, and Lee definitely gonna answer the questions we got. I think he'll make them fight. So I wouldn't bet on this fight, but I think it'll be Chimaev's hardest fight, and I think we'll see a lot more of his skill set. But I know he's a dog.
And what I will say is, with Chimaev, I love the guy, and I mean he's fearless, he's powerful, he's got good wrestling, and he's got good hands, man. The guy is really powerful when it comes to striking. He, that win over Mearshart, his last fight, it's aged well because what did Mearshart do to Muradov, who was absolutely a killer? Everybody was talking about Muradov and how good his hands were and how good he is. And guess what? He survived and eventually took off Muradov in the third round. And Chimaev put him out with one punch in the last fight. So Chimaev is a beast. I know he's a beast. It's just all the intangibles that I'm scared of. I do have, like I said, a lot of inside the distance KO props on Chimaev, but I'm hedging them with Jiang Liang round 3 props because I think if it gets to round 3, it's going to get a little sweaty for me. But moving on, we will move on to fight number 11. It's Alexander Volkov against Marcin Tybura in the heavyweight division. Tajik, kick us off here.
Yeah, there's I don't have much action on this fight. I don't think you can win a Lambo betting here, just because it's kind of like you look at Volkov. I think Volkov is gonna piece him up. It's would be hard for Tybura to take him down, and so what's going to happen? We're probably gonna see it, like one-sided decision towards Volkov, like something like 30-27. Or if Volkov puts up the pace and Tybura guesses out, he's been KO'd before, Volkov stops him. I'm on the fence. Like, part of me thinks he stops him, part of me thinks it goes to a decision. But if we're trying to make a Lambo bet, then it's probably, I don't know if Volkov by TKO cuts the Lambo bet, but let me check. But if not, then I mean my official pick is Volkov by decision and Volkov by TKO. Help us out, chat here, if you know.
Volkov by TKO is only plus 150.
I mean,
that is not a Lambo play, sir.
That's not that's Toyota Corolla play, and that's no. So yeah, I'm not doing this. But I mean, if only in some crazy parlay, that's okay. It's just hard to see any other outcome. I want to give you something that has like unrealistic chance. At least if there was some, a good decent parlay, I would have said, like something like Volkov by sub or something like that. But I just, there is it. Like Nan actually gives in the chat, Volkov round 3 is plus 900. That's Lambo right there.
He took my play.
That's actually great. Yeah, that's a great play, Nan. I didn't notice it.
So
that's a very good play.
Yeah, I think round 3 is actually a good prop here in the fact that, Tybura's going to, he's not going to stay on the feet with Volkov. Volkov is long, really good striker. He's going to try to get this fight to the ground, But like looking at stats here is very skewed with Volkov's takedown defense. The guy has really good takedown defense. Very big dude. Got taken down 14 times by Curtis Blades. But come on, guys. Curtis Blades is on a different level when it comes to wrestling. That's not Marcin Tybura. And the one thing I will say is Tybura in his last couple of fights was hurt extremely bad against Walt Harris, hurt extremely bad against Greg Hardy in both fights, survived and kind of got him out of there after they both gassed out because they went for the knockout and they gassed out. He survived and he got him out of there in the one of them in the first round later on and one of them in the second round. But with Volkov, like, I think this is going to turn because I think Marcin Tybura is going to go for takedowns. Marcin Tybura is going to get tired. Volkov at range is the much better striker, has fought the much better opposition. To me, the writing is on the wall for Tybura here. I think he's going to get stopped. Volkov lately has been getting more stoppages. If you look at his, record, he stopped Overeem. I know he stopped Harris, Verdum, Struve. I know he went to decision with Hardy, but look at his last 3 losses, right? He's losing to the top guys. He's losing to Curtis Blades. He's losing to Cyril Gane. He's winning that fight with Lewis up until the end, and he gets KO'd. I mean, he's winning every minute of that fight, and he loses at the end. So this guy is a top-tier fighter. I don't think Marcin Tybura is a top-tier heavyweight. I think he's more in the middle. This is a huge step up. Volkov round 3 after Tybura gasses at plus 1,000. I love it. Because go back and look at the fight against Curtis Blades where he got taken down 14 times, guys. And in that last round, Curtis Blades was in big trouble because he was rocking Blades when Blades was tired and he had the gas tank. So this guy is the real deal. I like Volkov. I like his striking. Really big dude and tough to take down. I mean, the guy's massive. So plus 1,000 round 3, sign me up. What do you got for us, Mo?
I agree. Volkov.
You like Volkov here?
Yeah. Too
awesome.
much.
Awesome. We will move on. We're flying through this now. It's fight number 12. Very interesting fight. It's Islam Makhachev that everybody loves and saying is the next champion at 155 going up against Dan Hooker. I'm not even going to say too much about this fight. Just the fact that, everybody knows what Islam Makhachev does. Very good defensive striking skills. Very good takedowns. Typical Dagestani. Good submissions. He submitted Thiago Moises last time that, is a very good BJJ practitioner himself. But this guy's suffocating on top. Very good top game. But I want to say one thing, man. Like, this is a disrespectful line to Dan Hooker. Like, I know the guy is not the best takedown defense. I know the guy is, has a lot of losses recently or whatever. He's got to win last one. But this guy's lost to really good guys. Barbosa, Poirier, Chandler. This guy's fought really good guys in his UFC career. I think it's disrespectful at plus 460. Poirier was minus 220 against this guy. And now all of a sudden, Makhachev, I know he's a good wrestler. I know he's going to be able to take him down. But minus 700 against this guy is absolutely insane. I mean, literally, the line is the same thing as it was against Drew Dober. And you can't tell me that Drew Dober is better than Dan Hooker is because I won't buy it. I just think the money line itself has value here at plus 460. And if I was to bet this, I would tell you guys to wait because I think more money is going to come in on Makhachev. This line might hit plus 600, plus 700 range. It's going to get absolutely astronomical. And I'm going to wait and bet Hooker because I think his knees are dangerous when Makhachev is shooting. So I'll kick it off to Mo this time. I know you're familiar with these guys. What do you think, Mo?
I think Makhachev will win convincingly. I think the skill set in their best, I think their best skill sets is a mismatch. So it's clearly a way to beat Dan Hooker. You know what I mean? Like he lost to Poirier he lost to those three guys who weren't near as wrestle heavy as this. You know what I mean? And that's his weakness. You know what I mean? So like the only thing he would be able to do, I don't think he'll be able to keep him off of him for 15 minutes. So he have to hit him with a knee or something. But that's expected. So I think he'll pick his shots right to for sure get the takedown. And once he gets Hooker on the ground, I don't see no struggle.
Man, yeah. I mean, I won't disagree with you because he's nasty when he's on top of you, man. This guy is smothering. He reminds a lot of people of Khabib. He's got a lot of his aspects, when it comes to grappling, like the chain wrestling, this guy, once he grabs a hold of you, the trips are really good. I mean, he just does everything right when it comes to the grappling aspect. And he's your typical Dagestani, like really, really good grappler and very high level, good control on the ground. So I won't disagree with you. He is a nasty dude, especially when it comes to the grappling. What do you got there, Tajik? You got any crazy play here?
Crazy, sure. Here you go. Makhachev by sub round 2 is plus 850, and then Makhachev by sub plus 3 is 1200. I mean, it's pretty interesting. I think either of them is one of them is going to hit either second round. I don't know if he tries to put him out in the first round, if it's going to be possible. I think he's probably going to be a little bit cautious. But I think we should make no mistake that Makhachev, I actually watched Khabib's interview, like it was released a couple of hours ago. His manager was asking him, like, what's your message for Islam? Like, what should he do and stuff like that. And he said he should finish him, and he should finish him like convincingly, and then call out Dana and say, don't send me like a fake contract, blah, blah, blah. And kind of like put yourself out there, because Makhachev needs like kind of like a personality, right? Like to show his personality. He's very, quiet, humble guy, but I think he's hilarious as well at that. His humor is pretty dry, almost like mine. But I like actually Makhachev to stop Hooker, and I think either round 2 or 3 by sub is definitely a Lambo play. So that's my recommendation.
I might actually play those. I didn't.
That was pretty sick, Imagine it's like.
I actually might play those because I think he doesn't get him out of there in the first round because Hooker's pretty durable. I think he's only been subbed once in his career, and that was like 10 years ago or something.
Yeah, maybe that's why the odds are where they are.
Yeah, But I mean, he's never been subbed, so he's faced pretty good grapplers in Gilbert Burns. But I mean, he knocked out Gilbert Burns in the first round, so there wasn't much grappling in that fight at all.
I would love to have Bookie suffer for that. Like if you, I mean, how do you let like Makhachev by sub round 2 or 3 at these odds? It's just beyond me.
I mean, I might play it honestly. I might play it because I do like what I see from that dude, and he's really trouble for everybody at 155, to be honest. But we'll move on. Co-main event. Great fight. It's Peter Yan against Corey San Hagen. We will let the Mo Show kick this one off because these guys are at his division, 135. He might be there in their spot one day. So, Mr. Mo Show, let us know what you think of these two guys.
I think this will be a good fight. I think the length will give Peter Yan trouble early, just until he figure it out. But he see the path to victory is pressure, you know what I mean? And he's good at applying the pressure. It's just if he can pinpoint San Hagen, I'll say that. But Peter Yan is hard. I think 3-round Peter Yan, a lot of people can beat, or not a lot of people, but they have a better chance of beating him in 3 rounds. 5 rounds, he's normally the better boxer, so his technique survives throughout the 5 rounds. But San Hagen, he's one of the guys who also has a different technique that can go 5 rounds, you know what I mean, and still be able to keep his hands up or move his feet. Like just Aljamain, he didn't once he got tired, he had no base, you know what I mean? Like he had no base. I think Aldo gave Peter Yan, I think, although won that fight in 3 rounds, you know what I mean? And then 4-5 is where Peter shines. But in this fight, I think it's hard because Sanhagen can still be there. You know what I mean? So, but I don't know. I think Sanhagen will win. I think he'll tally up points 1 through 3 and be able to survive. I'll say survive 4 and 5.
Man, I honestly, like, you couldn't even say it any better, because I literally said the same thing yesterday on a different show. I said, dude, this guy Peter Yan in a 5-round fight, it extremely favors him, dude. Like, 3 rounds does not favor him, because he always starts out slow, right? He's trying to figure it out. He's a slow starter. We see it all the time in his fights. He starts out slow. But man, 5 fucking rounds with this guy are hell. And you see what he did to Aldo late in that fight, man. He damaged Aldo really, really bad late. The other thing that I will say is, you talked about pressure with this guy. This guy is a lot of pressure. And, the one thing I did see with, with Corey San Hagen is, the guy has really good striking, good kicking game. I like his awkward style, karate sometimes, great leg kicks, spinning stuff. But the one thing I'll say is, going back and watching the last fight against Dillashaw started having success when he started pressuring more, man. And Dillashaw is not the pressure fighter that Peter Yan is. Peter Yan is on a different level. And anytime Peter Yan fights a 5-round fight, guys, I will give you a hint. Please bet him round 4, round 5, because that dude will break a lot of people in round 4 and round 5. It's extremely hard to deal with this pressure for 5 rounds, even though early on he doesn't start off fast, but he ramps it up really, really fast come that 3rd round. And then the 4th and 5th, he is really going hard. And we saw Corey San Hagen in his last fight against Dillashaw, even though it was a crazy pace too, he started kind of getting hurt late. And I don't think Dillashaw is the same striker that Peter Yan is, and the pressure from Peter Yan is insane, man. And giving up his back too, that's another thing with Corey San Hagen I mentioned. He gave up his back way too many times against the cage to Dillashaw. I think if Peter Yan wants to take it to the ground, I think with foot sweeps and stuff, I think he can take this guy to the ground and even have some top time. So some round 4, round 5, Peter Yan plus 1,600, plus 2,500. Sign me up for any 5-round fight for Peter Yan at round 4, round 5 with those odds. Tajik, looks like you're liking San Hagen a little. I don't know. What do you got?
As a person, yes, I like San Hagen. He's a great guy. He's I like his just like mindset. He's cool. Like no animosity. Like he goes out there, does his job. I respect that. And I also understand people who bet San Hagen at plus 200 and over. If you did that, congratulations, good job. I think Corey is a value side, right? All he has to do is win, but it's a tough assignment for him, right? Because Jan is gonna put the pace on him, and it's interesting. Like I watched the interview with Jan also, and Jan said he has a lot of he makes a lot of unnecessary movements, of which I'm going to capitalize, which I found interesting. And it's his boxing mindset, right? Like he lets his opponents like kind of test him a little bit. Takes almost like Triple G. Like if you watch Triple G fight, sometimes he doesn't mind if you hit him, and then at some point he understands what you're trying to accomplish for the fight, and he just goes into exchanges, and he's okay with that. With Piotr, it's the same thing. He goes, if you want to punch him, be my guest. You saw what Aljo did, right? I mean, Aljo, tried to punch him, and he was just punched himself out. He was tired, which is why Jan was taking him down at ease. So I think Piotr will give him a chance to, show his striking for San Hagen, and and I don't think he's gonna have problem taking his punch. Corey is not a knockout artist. He will let. So it's gonna be almost like he sees it as a boxing match. I don't understand his. I think Dillashaw showed us actually the path how to beat Corey, and that's through control. Trying to take him down. Maybe a little bit of a dirty boxing. And clinching. But is the Jan type of guy that can do this to Corey? I don't think so. I think he can take him down, maybe, but it's just what is he gonna do with it? I just don't understand what he gonna do with it. His base was in boxing, right? I mean, yes, sweeps are good, but it's just like I just hope he doesn't get gassed, because I'll tell you something that there's a moment, if you watch the Aljo fight, he put a lot of pace on Aljo once Aljo was tired, but in that fight he was tired himself. What people miss in that episode, like when he kneed Aljo, is that he's talking to his corner man, right? And his manager Sayat, and he says "Можно," which is like in Russian, it's like "Can I?" And he said, and his manager says, "Yeah, sure, go for it," type stuff. And he just knees him. It's a mental lapse at the moment. A mental lapse. Why? Because he's tired and he's unsure and he's looking for faster way out of this fight. He's looking to stop Aljo in that moment. He's tired himself, and so that's what you shouldn't miss. So that argument about the taking him down, wrestling him, controlling him, I'm not buying into that. Especially for somebody whose base is in boxing. Having said that, I think Jan is not. It's going to be a competitive fight. I see it going into decision. Actually, my official prediction was a decision. But if Jan pressures him late, like he keeps this pace, tremendous pace. If he has cardio enough for 5 rounds, towards the 5th round, I could see maybe him TKO him San Hagen, like very, very late stopping him. So I'm going to, for the Lambo bet purposes, I'm gonna pick Jan by TKO in round 5, which is available on FanDuel at plus 1600. I mean, one day
You can get it at 2,500.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, it's 2,500 because I played it at 2,500. It is at round 5. 2,500 is on DraftKings. So
plus 2,500 on DraftKings.
It's 2,500 round 5. Peter Yan on DraftKings.
Okay, guys, chat, please don't smash this line, please.
Yeah, I mean, I always play these Peter Yan round 4. I do want to take back the fact that I said control him on the ground, because Jan doesn't really control anybody. He doesn't like it. He doesn't feel comfortable kind of like on the ground at all. He does take people down, but he's not much of a grappler, if you want to say. I mean, he's an anti-grappler because he does have very good takedown defense. But, yeah, I mean, he's comfortable on the feet. I just think the pressure – I just don't think Corey San Hagen likes a lot of pressure. And I saw it in the Dillashaw fight. When Dillashaw was coming forward, he had a lot more success than on the back foot against Corey. And Corey, seeing how good Peter Yan is and later in these fights, man, I just think it's a recipe for disaster for Corey if he's not able to land like some knee or something early on and trying to get Peter Yan out of there. But yeah, great breakdown. I think we all agree, kind of, except for Mr. Mo Miller. He thinks it's San Hagen here. But I don't blame you.
If you look at just not to make it longer, Peter Yan is a great boxer, and most people aren't good in boxing and MMA, the fundamentals, you know what I mean? But TJ got so many different weapons, you know what I mean? Like the kicks, and Peter Yan kicks up. You know what I mean? He like his hips don't open up, like he just fling it up there. You know, he's not a good kicker. Like the only thing, like he just ball up, let you work. You know what I mean? Be good defensive, and he southpaw. You know what I mean? And he keep walking forward, because most people he fight is not good boxers. You know what I mean? They don't understand the jab. They don't understand. You know what I mean? None of that. So Peter Yan just literally. He in 4th or 5th round, he's the only one with his hands up. You know what I mean? So like, go look at every person he knocked out. Like Aldo, hands down. Faber, hands down. Sterling, all over the place. You know what I mean? Like none of them people had solid hands, but I think San Hagen has a more solid base striking wise. You know what I mean? That will allow him to, you know what I mean, move around more.
You know, you're right. The length might give him problems too.
Yeah.
Right? Corey San Hagen is long, man, for this division, so he might give him problems there. You know, the kicking game. You know, he's got those flying knees and stuff. So he's got a lot of different arsenal that I do like, and I do like Corey San Hagen overall. I just like Peter Yan a little bit more.
Peter is a beast.
He is a beast. Yep. With that being said, before we move on to the main event, I want to thank everybody in chat, everybody that's watching. There's 35 of us live right now watching. I want to also thank Mo Miller for taking the time being here with us. I know the guy's busy. He's got a fight upcoming. So without further ado, we'll move on to the main event so we can wrap this up. The main event is the 205 strap, Jan Blachowicz going up against the ever so aging like freaking wine, this dude at 42, Glover Teixeira. Tajik, kick us off here.
So I'm gonna keep it short. I see again some sharps picking Teixeira. I understand. I think he is a value side at this point probably, but I'm not rushing to bet him. I will not bet him. I think Blachowicz take cares of him, and it's a Blachowicz by TKO. I just need to find out which round it's going to be, and that's where I'm having the most trouble with. But it's going to be something. I see it early, to be honest with you. I don't see it going like past the third round. So it's going to be somewhere between, second and the third round, and that would be my official pick, Blachowicz by TKO. Let me take round 3. That would be my pick.
Mosho, what do you got for us on the main event?
I think this will be a closer fight than a lot of people think. Because they both is like real savvy. You know what I mean? A lot of experience and real savvy in there. But I feel like both are on the street too.
Yeah, they are. Yep.
Yeah, so I will pick the champ just because he's the champ and he been finishing, I think, the better people right now. Glover beat a lot of good people too, but I think that Corey Anderson win is underrated. You know what I mean? I think he's a tough dude.
It sure looks underrated now. I mean, he's tearing through Bellator over there.
Yeah, so I'll go with the champ here, and I don't think it'll go all 5. I kind of agree. I think round 3, champ will get him out of there.
Awesome. I think I'm on your side too. I agree with you guys. I think I see a lot of people on Glover Teixeira. I don't really get it. I mean, I like the guy. I want to root for the guy. He's 42 years old fighting for a title, which is really impressive just in itself. But, you go back and look at this guy's wins. I know they're impressive wins, but like the last 5 fights, right? Santos, Anthony Smith, Krylov, Kutalaba, Roberson. I think in every single one of those fights, he was hurt really bad early by every single one of those guys. And he happened to weather the storm and come back and kind of, in some of those fights, the guys were gassed out. He gets them out of there. And the others, he just kind of put his will on them and got them down and subbed them because he does have a really good submission game. So, yeah, I mean, ultimately, on Jan Blachowicz is good takedown defense, good BJJ skills, very good striking. I think he's the better striker here. Glover tends to get sloppy. Glover tends to kind of like, take over when other guys gas out. I don't think Blachowicz is going to gas out. He's got a good gas tank. We also saw one thing that's really important. I know people always say, Jan beat Israel Adesanya, but Israel is a true 85er. He's not a 205er, and I agree with that. But Israel Adesanya is also probably one of the best strikers in MMA, and Jan hung with him in the striking. It's not like Israel Adesanya was dominating him in the striking, because that wasn't the case. Yes, Jan took over because of his grappling, But that's just to tell you that Jan is a good striker. Jan uses the leg kicks. Jan uses everything. I mean, he's smart. I don't think this is a great matchup for Glover Teixeira just because of the overall game of Jan Blachowicz. But to go with a Lambo play, I will sprinkle this one out there. Teixeira submission plus 750. If this gets to the ground, at any point later on, and he's on top, we know what the guy does. The guy is extremely dangerous. I don't care who you are on bottom. He's probably going to get the submission. And, if the later this fight goes, I think it kind of favors Teixeira a little more because I think, Jan should be taking this guy out probably between, the first 3 rounds. So, yeah, Glover Teixeira submission plus 750 is not a bad poke, but ultimately I like the Jan side here. I think he gets the W. Again, that wraps it up for UFC 267. I want to thank Mo Miller very much for taking the time and coming on with us, dude. I know it took an hour and 40 minutes of your life.
It's midnight here.
I thank you very much, man. If anybody wants to say anything to him, you're more. I mean, if you can hang out for like a couple minutes, answer questions if you don't mind.
Yeah, no problem.
Awesome. Actually, I got a question for you. I know your next fight. I don't know if it's announced, but it's out there. It says, I read it. It's Johnny Campbell. I actually have watched this guy live against in his Bellator fight against Henry Corrales. I remember that fight clearly. I was kind of impressed with him. Really durable, tough dude. Took a lot of shit from Corrales. Came back, eventually stopped Corrales himself. I don't remember if he subbed him or what the deal was, but in his last fight, though, I did watch that one also against Levi Moles, and I kind of saw Moles like basically grapple him and do whatever he wanted with this guy for most of the 3 rounds, where he pretty much dominated him. So, my question to you is, have you watched this guy and kind of, I don't want you to talk about your game plan or anything, but do you see holes in this guy's game where you can exploit?
Yeah. I mean, he's been around a long time, you know what I mean? Got some good wins. But I don't think he's the perfect fighter. You know what I mean?
Sure.
I think I'm a much better grappler than Levi. Bigger fighter than Levi, you know what I mean? Longer. And I think I'm more versatile than Levi. But he does have good wins and he does have a lot of experience. So my game, I wouldn't say my game plan, but I definitely think I'm going to be a problem for him. And I think he got to take me serious with only 6 fights. So I don't know. I'm just excited, ready to go.
He better take the Mo Show serious. If he hasn't been watching your fights, he better take you serious because, man, you're grappling. I mean, when I taped you for that Dana White Contender Series, because I do a show every Monday for the Dana White's Contender Series, like, man, I was so impressed with you. Like, you're grappling. I'm like, dude, this guy is going to absolutely dominate his opponent in this. Even though the guy was undefeated, and he is a tough dude, but, like, your grappling is on the next level. And the one thing I notice with you a lot, and this is not because you're on the show and I'm saying this, but you're really, really strong compared to these other 35ers, man. You're tossing them around like nothing. And your wrestling is next level, really, really good control. So it's really, really impressive. I wish you good luck. I know you're going to do well. You don't need much luck because you have all the skill.
It's still fighting.
It is still fine. It is still fine. I agree. Tashik, you got anything for him?
Yeah. I have a quick comment, Mo. And after that, maybe just one question. With 6-0 after your Dana White Contender Series fight, I think, in my opinion, and I've been watching the sport for over 20 years, I think UFC actually did you a favor by not signing you at this point. And why I say that is because a lot of fighters who come to Dana White Contender Series, they come at the sweet age, like 24, 25, they get signed up. and I've seen their careers getting broken because they get tough level of opposition. They're just not prepared mentally. You, unlike a lot of them, after hopefully your fight goes well at the Fury FC, will come 7-0 and at the prime of your career, at the age of hopefully 30, right? So when we're talking about, Dana White Contender Series alums, I think that's the difference, that what will make you different, is that you will come more mature with a solid record and experience, and more so ready than anybody, than most of the guys who come in from the Dana White Contender Series. So that's my comment. So in terms of the question, I've seen your wrestling. You're very dominant at that. Where your credentials are coming from, wrestling wise and grappling wise?
I'm a 3-time All-American at Notre Dame College.
There you go.
So that's home. AJ McKee, Joey Davis, Jared Brooks.
Great grapplers.
Yeah. We got most people from Notre Dame is good fighters.
Awesome.
So yeah, that's where. But I got a background in stand-up. That's why I can't wait for y'all to watch this fight. Not to hold us any much longer, but I was literally probably like 50% at the Contenders. That's what made me mad. It's because I didn't even show my wrestling. I didn't even think that was good wrestling. I thought I was just compared to what I normally do. I thought that was wrestling that I had that got the job done. You know what I mean? Like.
Was it a little jitters? Maybe like
no. That's why I'm like, I'm only 6-0, but I got thousands of wrestling matches, thousands of big stage. You know what I mean? I felt good. It just like the rehydration part.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Okay. So like literally the energy level.
Yeah.
I mean, the output. But as far as like shape and like, I guess you could say jitters as far as like the day before, and like I wasn't really focused on eating, if that makes sense. I was just like chilling, but like walking out, like in the fight, like I was 100% there. I just knew that my energy wasn't gonna be there. So like that's why I didn't go for all the slams and all the submission attempts and everything, just because I knew the way I had to fight, just based off what I was feeling.
Which I mean, sometimes you're better off doing what your body's telling you, what you feel, instead of possibly guessing out and let this other guy coming back in the fight. Uncle Weezy has a question for you. He said, Mo, do you think your wrestling is your most effective weapon to win minutes and bank rounds? If not, what do you think your most effective weapon as a mixed martial artist?
For me, it has been my most effective to win rounds because I'm always the better wrestler in most of my matchups. So them, like you said, I'm pretty strong. So them when I grab someone, they literally got to know what they're doing to work out. You know what I mean? To come up or to get out, and that takes time. And me chewing up the time like that, yes, most likely I'll win the round. But I think another effective tool of mine is my jab. I got a very underrated jab because I haven't shown it much. I showed it a little bit last fight. I was on my feet half the round, each round. You know what I mean? I wasn't wrestling for 5 minutes like the narrative is. Like he had his chance on his feet. You know what I mean? But he couldn't get past the jab.
I honestly think you hurt him on the feet at one point in that fight. I don't remember what round it was, but
it was round 2.
Yeah, I think you hurt him in that fight on the feet. So, yeah, I mean, I liked your striking too. What I will say before I ask this question from Tim is the fight I will tell you that most impressed me, because I am actually impressed with your opponent that you beat, is Mando Gutierrez. That dude is a really, really good grappler, man, and really, really good submission grappler. And you literally freaking out-grappled that guy. Like, I mean, he couldn't do anything with you. And I was really impressed from that tape, because I know Mando Gutierrez, and I know how good of a grappler he is, and how you dominated him is what, really turned me on to you from, into the Dana White's Contender Series, because that guy is a legit grappler himself.
Yeah, Mando is a good wrestler and jiu-jitsu practitioner. So it's hard to find people with both of those. You know what I mean?
Yep. And he's not a tough dude to hold down, and you just made it look easy in that fight against him. But yeah, Tim is asking Mo, who's the better grappler or wrestler? Sorry, Gregor Gillespie or Merab?
Gregor by landslide.
Oh, there you go.
Merab isn't a Merab. If Merab was in the college wrestling mat, he'll get his butt whooped.
Oh.
He's not. That's why. See, I don't want to do this. I'm tired because they my weight class. I don't like talk about.
Yeah. That's cool.
But, just for I'll answer the question though. Sure. Gillespie is a national champ. The levels is that Merab is an MMA wrestler. You know what I mean? Most guys in MMA ain't college wrestlers. So like they look at him as one of those. You'll see the level of difference in Merab's wrestling when he faces a wrestler.
I agree.
He don't face wrestlers. You know that he think Aljamain is a high level wrestler. A lot of people in the UFC. Aljamain, I guess he wrestled in college, but the levels he not even that high of a wrestler, you know what I mean, skill set wise. And Aljamain is a way better wrestler than Merab. So, and I'm not even being cocky. Them is just facts, you know what I mean? Like Aljamain will have trouble in college wrestling, Division III, Division II, you know what I mean? Like, and Merab learned from him for the most part. I'm not sure in this country or whatever, but you could just tell his techniques. He's just a bully wrestler, you know what I mean? Like he understands MMA wrestling, but when you put him in there with somebody who is a folk style wrestler or a collegiate style wrestler, you'll see the difference. Merab won't. He doesn't really set up the takedowns. He just bully you. Yeah. So like once he them people in the UFC know what they doing. You know, they avoid who they. I don't have a problem facing no wrestlers. I want to face the highest level Russian wrestlers you got. You know what I mean? Because I know my skill level, and those guys. It ain't no Aljamain is the best wrestler in my division. I'm not sure who else is a good wrestler. People would say Merab because that's his strong suit, I guess, but just wait till I get in there.
Yeah, there you go. I like it. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to keep you any longer. I've had you here for a long time. Thank you very much again, Mo. I appreciate your time. If you want to shout out anything to the chat or for the people that are going to watch this video, go ahead. The floor is yours. You could tell them whatever you want, brother.
Just keep it short. Thank y'all for having me. Maybe a little earlier in the day and a little I don't understand I don't know too many foreigners, you know what I mean, as far as the MMA side. So that was a little hard just going along with you guys just because I couldn't give a real good input on the prelims. But thank you for having me. I enjoyed the time. I love talking about MMA. Thank you to the people who tuned in and asked the questions. I appreciate it. November 14th, Dana White's looking for a fight. Me versus Cupcake. Tune in. There
you go, baby. Yeah, listen, that might be your show right there because we're seeing a lot of guys coming from Fury FC and the other one. I can't remember the name offhand right now, but it's on Fight Pass a lot. And
LFA.
What is it? LFA has some, but the other one I can't remember the name.
CFFC.
Yes. So there's fighters they've been taken from there a lot. So yeah, I mean, it's your time, brother. God bless you. Thank you for being on again. I appreciate everyone in chat. Thank you, Tajik, like usual. That's about it, man. Tajik, you have anything to say? Shout out?
No shout outs. Good luck everybody tomorrow. If you have any questions to ask, just DM us. We're on Twitter. I'm on Twitter at Tajik Bay. So and thanks for everybody, old faces, new faces, everybody, and thank you, Mo, for making it. Truly appreciate your time.
Yeah, no problem.
And the other thing, Mo, anytime you want to get on, just hit me up, man. You're more than welcome to come on a show whenever you're ready or anytime.
We can do it after this fight.
Awesome, brother. Awesome. Good luck. I'll be your number one fan for this fight. You will come through, man. Take care. Thank you, everybody, and have a good night.
I appreciate y'all.